Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this live event from Lords IT, talking about how you can use Office 365 at home in these times of remote working. This is the PowerPoint that we put out for our training sessions on our individual schools prior to the world ending, and we're going to go through some of the things that we discussed in that training session. We're going to be talking about the ability to use OneDrive, Teams, and SharePoint, and we'll be able to talk you through all those settings. So if you've got any questions, you can hit the Q&A button and you can post them. Jake's moderating them, so some of them will come through on the screen, and we'll be able to see them and answer them hopefully for you. So kicking off, just a little bit for those who are supported by Lords IT. And just an update on how you can get more advice and help from us in these times. So we have got a student and a staff help desk at the moment. You can find all details for that on our help website, which is help.lordsit.org.uk. It's also worth giving us a follow on Twitter, where we're sharing hints and tips from Microsoft accounts with quick video guides on how to use some of their tools and some of the hidden features on there. And also, if you go up to the help desk itself, there's lots of information on there and some quick guides as well. You can also sign up to our newsletters from the help desk as well, and that'll keep you in touch with everything that we're doing, hints and tips, and everything else that you need to do. So, moving on, we're going to be talking today about OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams, as I mentioned earlier on. OneDrive is the personal share that you'll have online. So everything within OneDrive is just for you, unless you choose to share it with other people. So it's a really good first step in moving your files accessible into the cloud. So it's important to understand what the cloud is and what we mean when we're moving to the cloud. When we're moving to the cloud, there is only one copy of the document that's stored online in a data center somewhere. There isn't multiple copies anymore stored locally, and multiple devices can connect into that one document. So you've always got the last document, the most current and up-to-date document, because you're only accessing one document. So there's none of this losing it on different emails or anything like that. It's all in the same place. So we're going to go through OneDrive and talk about how you can share your files and go through the sharing options as well, so you understand that. Then we're going to move on to SharePoint. Now, SharePoint is your equivalent to your shared drives on your network in school, and that will allow you to to share files between a larger group. You invite people onto those SharePoints, and actually it can be a lot more detailed than just a shared group of files. We'll show you a couple of examples of where they're being used really, really well. And then lastly, we'll come on to Teams. Now, I did a proper Teams session the other day with an introduction and everything like that. So we'll touch on some of the Teams elements briefly. But if you want to check out the video that I did on Teams to give you a good introduction just on Teams, then if you head to lordsit.org.uk/videos, you'll be able to see the video of the live session that I did the other day. This session's also being recorded. So if you miss it, part of it, you can always go back to it, and I'll pop the link up, but it'll be on that lordsit.org.uk/videos as well. Okay, so it's really important to know how you can access stuff when you put them into the cloud. Now, there's two ways. There's the way where you can access them via Office 365. Now, every member of staff and student in any of our schools and schools across the country that have got Office 365 get access to Office 365 for free. Now, that includes Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, OneNote, and Teams. You can get it by logging into Office 365. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But what we're focusing on in this slide is the ease of opening and saving files within Office 365. So you can see on this screen on the under where it says open, you can see here that we've got the OneDrive listed. And then that shows our OneDrive files on the right hand side as well. It's actually easier to save my files into OneDrive and into SharePoint than it is to save them onto a computer. And obviously if they're saved in OneDrive, wherever I open up Office and wherever I've downloaded it and signed in, I'll get those latest documents to me as well. And it's similar using the apps. So you get 5 free copies of Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Office 365. So you can use that on your mobile devices as well. So if I wanted to open up my mobile, I'll be able to see the same list of documents I've got on my screen now on the mobile device. So you can really access them anywhere on pretty much any device. So it's fantastic. Quick word of warning about signing in. So you've got the documents on your, so you've got Office 365 on your computer, but you may also want to access things through the browser. You can access Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, SharePoint, Teams, everything through the internet. But it's really important to make sure that you're logging into the right website. There's lots of phishing attacks going on. Now for Laws IT, schools, you can see that we've got a customized background. And we've also got, which is our balloons and our logos. So please make sure that you're looking out for them when you're logging in. If you are with another organization, you may have a customized background. Take note of that. Maybe ask the question if they've got one, so you can make sure that's what you're looking for. It will appear after you put in your email address, because once you put in your email address, it knows who you are and what organization you're in, and then it will show you the customized background. But you shouldn't put your username and password in on the same screen when you're logging in. And it's really important that you keep those details safe. If your organization hasn't got multi-factor authentication, highly recommend it in these dangerous times of phishing online, and we can help you with that if needs be. So you sign in at office.com. So office.com is the URL that you'll need. So just type that into your browser and you can get into Office 365. When you're there, this is the screen that you'll see, and you'll be able to see multiple different options and apps there to load up. So you can see here we've got quite a few different apps on the screen. Yours will vary compared to what I have on mine. Hopefully not very many of you have the admin link, but you should have at least some of those viewable. If the one that you're looking for isn't available, then hit the all apps button and that will list them all out for you as well. So in this situation, I'm going to show you OneDrive. So you'd hit the OneDrive link. And as I've already said, you can upload your files using OneDrive via the website. You can do it on the computer as well, using the app if you're not using a managed device. And if you're in one of our schools, which is recently had I Am Cloud rolled out, then you can access that quite easily as well. And I'll talk you through how to do that. So as I've already said, documents are only there for you. You can share them with other people, and if you share them with other people, you're in complete control of when they can access them and what they can do with them, and I'll show you that in a second as well. So you can easily access this at any time using the app, using the website, or within the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc., the Office programs as well, as I've shown you. So because I'm not demoing this in a session that I was before in front of people, I'm going to switch over and show you this live and go through some of the options for you. So just bear with me a minute while I get that all set up. So as you can see here on my screen, if I wanted to go to File and go to Open, here you can see my OneDrive, and everything in my OneDrive is here that I need. Now I can open these. It doesn't download it onto my computer unless I actually need it. So it doesn't take up space unless I actually need it. And I can browse my OneDrive. If I hit this button here, it'll open it up just as before. And I can tell it's my OneDrive because it's got my email address up here. So whatever changes I make on my OneDrive will replicate straight away up onto the server and be able to access anywhere else as well. So it's very, very easy to do. Okay, so I'm now going to jump into a window with OneDrive in it. So let me just share that screen. So now through this screen, you can see this is my options, and I'm going to hit the OneDrive button here. So on my OneDrive, it looks quite similar to how I'd open things up on a normal computer. The important thing I get asked this a lot is, can I store other files in there that aren't Word, Excel, and PowerPoint and other Office type files? Absolutely, you can. So you can put any file pretty much that you want in OneDrive to access anywhere else. The key information is, do you have that software on the computer that you're using to open it? So, for example, lots of people talk about Smart Notebook and other files. Yep, you can store them in your OneDrive. You've got to make sure that you've got Smart installed on your computer that you try to open the file on, otherwise you've got nothing to open it with. So you can put pictures, videos, all sorts into here as well. So on this screen, we'll go through some of the basics. So on the main screen here, you can see all my different folders, okay, and you can see that they're all set to private at the moment, so they're not shared with anybody. I don't think, oh yep, down here, down the bottom here, I've got a file that's shared. So I'll go through the sharing options in a minute, but I just want to show you, if I click on shared, how quickly it is I've got control over who can see my document. So I can see here's a link, so I can share that with other people, and I can see quite clearly what that link does. So it's people in my organization can then edit it. This is my specific to specific people that can edit it. So a colleague of mine can edit it, but if I wanted to take that away for Dan, I could just click on there and that will remove Dan's access straight away. I can also quickly change the type, so I can change it from can edit just to read only, or I can delete the link completely on there. So you are in complete control of what you're sharing, and you can get to that easily by pressing the either the private or the shared link on the on the right hand side there. So this is just a normal window on the internet. So I can click through to go into, let's go into our coronavirus folder. It seems pretty apt at the moment, and I can see all my documents and stuff in here as well. Now, what I've got the ability to do here is, using the buttons at the top, is to click the new button. That will allow me to create a new folder. The upload button allows me to upload files. Now, if you're using Chrome or you're using the new Edge, you can upload a whole folder in one go. So if we just show you how to do that, so if I hit upload and go down to folder, I'll find a folder that I can upload. It's a happy picture of me there. So if I want to do Windows PowerShell and do some scripts, got nothing in there, and just click upload, and it will upload the file straight onto here. And when it's uploaded, it will appear with a little blue crown on it to show that it's new. I don't think that file is going to do it because it didn't have anything in. I do work on it. Let's see, but it's all in my OneDrive already. So I can maybe go up at my SimCity stuff up. No, let's have a look. Here we go. So now that's uploading. So you can see on the side here, I can see my uploading, and I can see my folders appeared. I can see it's new. You see it's modified a few seconds ago. So that uploads it quite nicely up onto the system, and that's as easy as it is to upload your files onto there. If I wanted to, I could switch back into PowerPoint and browse that folder straight away. It's already there, and I can obviously, as I say, see that everything's uploaded, or is it in the process of uploading there as well, so I can keep an eye on that as well. So it's quite easy to get things up there. But what I can also do, if I share my desktop, I'll show you this. So if I share screen one. So if I have a file that I want to move across onto there, again, I need to find some more files. So let me go into my documents. And I wanted to move across, say, this PDF file. I can just literally drag and drop it where I want it as well, and I'll go in there as well. So I can do one of those multiple ways of moving stuff across. If you are uploading quite a lot of information, then I strongly suggest you do it in batches so you can make sure that everything's up there as well. Now, when it's all uploaded, then we've got the option to share. So if I wanted to share my folder, I'd click on it. Now, I can share files or folders. My recommendation, though, is always to share a folder, because if you find that you want to share more than one document, you can obviously have them in that one folder and just drop new ones in there. When you share a folder, all the settings that you set for that folder are shared on all the documents inside it. So where might this be useful at the moment? Well, if you've got a website and you're putting resources onto the internet for students to use, rather than uploading documents every single time, you may wish to share a folder. put a link to that folder on your website, and then whatever you've put into that folder will be accessible. So if you need to add more stuff, you don't have to worry about uploading it to the website each time, which is obviously sometimes quite cumbersome with some websites. You just have that link, and as soon as you put something in or take it away, then people can access it quite easily. So I'm going to show you how to do that with my training link here. So I've highlighted it and I press the share button. Now it's really important that you choose the right option for sharing, because if you share it in the wrong way, it's going to be a GDPR breach, and nobody wants that to deal with at the moment. So not very often I recommend using anyone with a link, but this is a situation where I would recommend it, where you've got lots of people who don't have Office 365 accounts and you don't know what device they're accessing it on, who want to quickly open up the work and see it. And embed it on the website. Other things that it's quite useful is if you have a trip or something like that, you can share the folder on the website and add in resources to there, because it's doesn't need to be protected. Anybody can see the stuff in there. So literally that link, you can share it, email it, put it on a website, whatever you want to do it, share it on social media, and then anybody who clicks on it will be able to see just that folder that you've shared and the documents within it. When you click on that option, you do have some additional features down here. Now, some of these are quite new. So the option to allow editing, but you don't have that, sorry, for anyone with a link, but you can if you share it with them specifically. So when you share anybody with a link, they can't edit it. You can set an expiration date for the link. That means the link will stop working on the date that you said, and you can put in a password. Now that password, okay, isn't GDPR compliant, because obviously it's just going to be a short password and you can't verify who's used it. So it's to stop nosy people rather than to protect documents. So it's really important that you know that. So when you've done all that and you click apply, it comes up on the screen with a link, and you can just use that link to share that. You can also use this one, which is people in an organisation. So our organisation, Our Lady of Lords Catholic Mac, it's a nice and catchy name, but yours will show your name of your organisation. That means anybody in your organisation who's allowed to log into Office 365 can use the link. So it does afford some privacy. They have to be an authorised person that you are able to give access to, so they can use that link to get access within school and using username and password. Okay, somebody's asked if I can zoom in my screen. Yeah, sure. So if we go onto the screen here, so hopefully that helps a little bit. So if you, as I was saying, if you use this, people in your organisation, you do get the option to allow or not allow editing on this one. You don't get the expiry link or the password on there, because they're already going to enter the password to get into it. People with existing access just means that you can get the link and resend it to the people that you've already given the access, or specific people. It is, funnily enough, specific people. So if I press on this one and click apply, it's people you can specify to edit. So because I clicked on the allow editing button, I could obviously untick that one, and then I can put in their addresses. So if I share this with Jake, there's his happy face, click on Jake, and I can put a little message in here. Jake will then get an email, and he can then click on the link in the email to get access to this. But I'll show you another way that you can do that in a minute as well, so that you can see if you forget that email, how you can access the files and folders. Got the option here to copy the link. So if I press copy the link, it will give me the link that I then need to share, and I could share that link into an email or put it wherever I want to for somebody to access. I could put it in another document, whatever I needed to do, I can put that link in there quite easily and give it to people. Or I can click the Outlook button. So if I type in Jake again and press the Outlook button, it will actually open up an email for me and puts the link in there automatically, so that I can put that straight out onto whoever needs to see it at the time. So I've also got this option, once I've shared it, to press the copy link button, and that'll copy the link straight away for me as well. But as I mentioned, I talked about a way that you can quickly get into shared files with you and shared with other people. So if we move down to the left hand side where I've got the shared option, and you'll see there's shared with you, so that's stuff shared with me from other people. So if somebody said they've shared it with me and I need to get access to it, see, this is what everybody shared with me and how I can view it. I can see when they shared it with me, sorry, and I can obviously jump into it. But then I can also have a look with shared by me to other people. So this allows me to quickly see what's shared out of my documents, and then I can remove that access quickly if I want to as well. So it's very handy to get in there as well. I can also, if I just jump back into my PowerPoint, if you're using Office 365 Pro Plus, so there are unfortunately several types of Office that you might be using across your schools, ranging from Office 2016, Office 2019 to Office 365 Pro Plus. So this button may or may not be present, but if it is, you've got this option here for shared with me when you go to open a file. So if you know somebody shared it with you, but you can't find the email, you click on open, click on shared with me, and you'll have a list down here of all the files that are shared with you. Okay, if I hit back as well, you'll also see on the home page, I've got shared with me from this view as well. So I can quickly go in and see what's there and find out what people have shared with me. But I'm in control in OneDrive of what I share. Now, at this point, lots of people talk about how much space that you may or may not have. Now, with OneDrive, you have up to 1 terabyte as standard and up to 5 terabytes if you need it. Now, if you fill 1 terabyte's worth of work, you're not doing work. I don't know what you're doing, but it's not work. So it's never, space is never going to be an issue for you again. In education, it's never going to be an issue. To give you an idea, 1 terabyte is 1,000 gig. And we give you 10 gigs for staff normally. Some of you, even the biggest staff, which is normally in media or music, they've got 125 to 150 gig. So 1 terabyte, still got 10 times. You can fit 10 times that into there before we even have to put it up to anything else. Quick word on backups as well. So Office 365 can be backed up, so you can download a copy of it to a local device if you want to, but it doesn't back itself up somewhere else, because a backup's defined as having a copy of something on a completely different system. Office 365 doesn't do that, but it does have a lot of features built in, so it's highly available, of course, being Microsoft, and you also have versioning. So what that means is if you go into a document, so let me just find one here, you can quickly see. We go on to this one and I press the eclipse here, so the 3 items here, and go down to version history. I can see when I've opened a document and when I've changed it. So this one in particular, I've only opened once. Let me try and find something that I've opened a few more times, and shows you a bit more information. Here we go. So I've got multiple versions saved at multiple times. So I can go back to these versions just by clicking on the version number here. So if you shared a document and somebody's messed it up, you can go right back to the previous version and it will open it up. So I can have a look at this, and then I can also choose to compare it between the older version and the newer version on there. So it will show me all the stuff that I've changed and added at different times between them, and then I can choose which one I want to go live in. So it does have a lot of options for going back. And in terms of if you do delete stuff, it does go into your recycle bin. And in your recycles bin, stuff in there will stay for 90 days. So if you delete it, it goes into your recycle bin, and then you've got 90 days to recover it. Even if you delete it from the recycle bin, you then have 90 days from when it originally went into the recycle bin, not from when you deleted it from the recycle bin, to get back. So basically, if you delete it, you have 3 months from the time that you first deleted it to get it back. After that time, there's no coming back from it. So please make sure that you regularly check your recycle bin and make sure that you've deleted what you want to delete. There's no space requirements. So if you're not sure and it doesn't contain personal details that you shouldn't be having on there, shouldn't be keeping after you've done, then you should delete it. You should delete it if it's got personal details in. But if it hasn't, just leave it there or put it in an archive folder. You're not going to run out of space anytime soon until you're confident that you no longer need it. So you can put in effect your own retention schedules. So that's OneDrive. It's very easy to use, very simple, and very user friendly. If you do have a home computer, you may have the OneDrive app installed on your computer. If you do, search for OneDrive down the bottom. If you've got it logged in, then it will come up like this. If you don't have it logged in, then log in using your school username and password, and you'll see that you've got your OneDrive and everything is stored in there just like you'd access normal files. Now, be very careful if you're doing this on a shared computer, because if you're doing this on a shared computer, Okay, obviously everybody else then can access your user area and documents. So when you're at home, it's really important that you make sure that you're using your own area. Lots of people share an area, and unfortunately in these days where we've got people working from home and accessing different things, best practice even with kids is to allow them to have their own user areas, because you may be logged into something that you don't want them to see. Could be somewhere your credit card's stored like Amazon and they could buy something, or it could be something else that you don't want them to see. And also even between partners, sharing your Word documents and such like is made a lot harder if you've got multiple people logging into one account. So different user accounts. You can use the Microsoft Family setup on your device so you can manage your children's access if you need to. But if you're just you and you're just your user area, then you can map your different areas onto using the OneDrive app. Okay, and you can use it like that as well. Just a touch on when you go back to schools, lots of our schools have purchased iAmCloud. And what you'll see there is your OneDrive will appear as a shared drive, just as My Documents does, or your staff shared or anything like that. It will appear in there as well. So it's making it as easy as possible for everything that you access now to be accessible when you return as well to school. So we're already preparing for when that day happens. We don't know when it might be, but we're already preparing for everything that you're doing online will be able to work back in school as well. And if you're not sure about that, or if you're a leader and you haven't agreed that for your school, then come and let us know and we can get that back for you. Okay, moving on now to SharePoint. So if we go back to Office 365, now SharePoint is all about creating shares, which is why it's called SharePoint. I'm going to show you very quickly the Lords IT SharePoint that we've got, which has lots of information in there. So this is what a SharePoint can look like. So you can see down here, it's got loads of different systems in it. So within our system, we've got performance management, return to works, holiday leave requests, takes information, loads of other information that we've got within here. On top of all that, we have got our normal shares. So you can see at the top here, I do have my Lords IT share, so does everybody else. And we can quickly jump into there and see all our resources. And if I just go over to Word, I can show you how easy it is to access that again from within Word. If I go to Open, and this time I go to Sites, you can see this is my Lords IT one. And then if I come down here, I can go to my Lords IT share. And this list of folders here is exactly the same as my list of folders here. As I say, they're in the cloud, so there's only one of each. Now, if you think of how this could help, if you're at home using a device, you could have instant access to your shares on any device that you've got as well. So no more needing to log into remote. Using your home laptop without remote is probably going to be a bit quicker depending on its age, and it'll allow you to get in there and access the stuff that you need to do as well. You can create multiple shares in a SharePoint. So it's up to you in your school how you want to run that. So you could, for example, have your say if it's a departmental one, call it geography, you could have a different folder, document share for year 9, 10 and 11, or your different year groups in there, or you could have it as a year group SharePoint with different shares for different subjects. You can control the access into the different document shares within the SharePoint. We can help you set that up if you don't already know how to do that. So you can have multiple. For example, on here, we've got a few different shares there, and different people can access them at different times. So if I jump back into the main SharePoint screen, I'm going to show you here how to create a SharePoint. This is probably the most technical bit of the session for how you can create your own team SharePoint, and you can use that now straight away to create what you're doing. Now, if you're watching from the RSA, you need to request this to be created by IT. If you're watching this from the Lords Multi Academy, you need to make sure that when you create one, you use your school code before the name. And if you're watching from anywhere else, I'm going to speak on behalf of your IT team. Please just name it something sensible. Otherwise, we could end up with millions or thousands, hundreds of SharePoints, all with crazy names. And at some point, we're going to have to sort that out. So at the top left-hand side, click the Create Site link and click on Team Site. Now enter your team site name. So, training with Matt. Now I can see this name is available. Let's check that for me, and it creates a group email address. Now that's really cool because that group email address allows me to share with others, and they can email that email address just underneath there. Okay, and I'll send a message to everybody in this group in one go. So it's a really quick and easy way to get a distribution list. You don't have to create multiple groups. This is the one group that you need to create. Down here, we've got different privacy settings. So public, anybody with a username and password into the organization can access. Now, this might be useful if you're doing something pastoral or something for the whole school together. It's a really useful link as well. And private is only members can access this site. So that's only people that you invite can access it. So I can add in additional owners if I wanted to, and that's as simple as putting in their names and it coming up. So I can put in Jake, and then I can start adding my members. Now, if your school uses a system where it's already created groups, all those groups have already been created for you elsewhere in Office 365, you can add them into here. So if I start to type in class, oh no, so that's always helpful. But on here, if I was typing class or username, it would allow me to search for that particular class or group and add them into it. So I don't have to add everybody individually. If I don't already have that group created, you're in a sense here creating that group. So put all the usernames in it, and that group's then created, and you can use it where else you want to in the future. So I can click finish there, and it will add my users, and this is my new group. So I've got a page here in front of me. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that today, because this will be another session that you can drop into at some future point about learning how to edit these pages and to create them. But in simple terms, we click edit. And then from this view, I can delete, change notifications and areas on it, and I can add some more. So you can have a play with that. If not, we'll do it for you if you're with Laws IT, or I'll do another session on how to actually create a really nice looking page as well. But if I come down here, I've got my document share, and in my document share, this is where I can start putting my information and everything like that. If I wanted to create multiple, I have to be back on the home page. And when I click on new, I can add in a new document library. We will in another session go through lists and such like, but if I click on my document library here, I can create that quite easily, and people can see everything in there. If I just jump into Word again, where are we here? And I go open, and I go to sites. Hopefully down here, I should see Matt's training appear at some point. Got quite a few on there. Can't see at the moment, but in a minute, my Matt one should appear on that list, and I'll be able to access it quickly from that list, and be able to see what I want to see. Let's try coming out, going back. Not quite yet, but it will appear there in due course when it's created. So that's how I've created my SharePoint. Now, if I go back to the documents, a couple of different things about the document shares here. Okay, so I've got the same options to upload and to put new in and everything I need here, but I've also got this sync button. So if I click the sync button, and I'm on a computer with the OneDrive app, and I click sync now, and I open with OneDrive, what I'll see is that it will get that information, and it will have just added it to my documents. So if I go onto my folders, and I can see on the left-hand side here, I've got training with Matt, and that's my folder. So if I'm on here, I can access that really quickly now, and I might want to put a Microsoft Word document, and that's now syncing, and then in a minute, that will update and come on to this page here. So there we go. That's how easy it is to put my stuff in there for me to see. On the right-hand side, you can see my members. So in here, I've got my different members, and I can see what they do. So here's me and Jake. So I can change Jake to just be a member, or I can remove him from the group. And I can set different options based on who's in here. So one of the big questions is people have said, I want to create these shares, but I don't want people to be able to edit them. So what you want to do then is you want to set them as a member. Okay. And then if I come on and click on the settings cog and go to site permissions, sorry, wrong one. Library permission, library settings. and go to permissions for this document library. I can see my different groups here. Now I can see that members currently have the edit. If I click on the group, I can change what options that they have on here and what they can do by going to view group permissions or group settings, and I can change what they can do on there. Again, that's a little bit more advanced. If you want some help, if you want us to create a share for you that only certain people can access, please just drop us a ticket. We're more than happy to help with that. But if you want to have a go yourself, have a play with those settings there and you can see what you can do. So I'm just going to come back to SharePoint, go back and come back to my share. So on here, there's a few other options that you can do. You can create flows and you can do Power Apps. Now, if you're interested in shows and flows or Power Automate as it is, and SharePoint, we're actually doing a training session tonight that at 4 o'clock, and you can create some of those systems that I've shown for like absence and for return to works and such like on there. So if you're interested in how to automate some things, you can see that from 4 o'clock this afternoon, and you can get all that information. One thing I will just point out is the alerts. So I can click on alert on me and I can tell it to alert me when stuff changed. So you can do that by an email. I can reduce it to certain amounts of whether things are deleted or anything like that, or when somebody changes it. So I can also at the bottom here put in like how often I want to be updated when things are done as well. So it's quite easy to keep a track of your share there if you need to know somebody's put something there. Say, for example, your policy is to create a document in a safeguarding folder. You could set an alert there so people could alert you to tell you all about it as well. Okay, so that is finishing up on SharePoint. Hopefully you've got a good idea of how that works from there. I'm now going to jump over to Teams quickly and show you how to use Teams. So I have to be a bit careful with how I'm using Teams because I'm obviously delivering this session via Teams at the moment. So I'm going to jump across and use something called an incognito window to get me into there. I'll go for this again. Oh, new passwords. Okay, so you can hit access Teams at the top here by pressing the Teams button, funnily enough, and that'll take you into Teams. Now, as I say, I did a session on Friday all about Teams, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I'm going to show you some of the possibilities so you can find out if it's what you need to see. So this one here, you can see that this one's already being used, and we can see multiple different units with different options in it as well. So, for example, if I hit onto the Year 9 pupils section, I'll see this is that they're using it on a bit of a pastoral area. So they've got all the Year 9 pupils in here, and they're giving out, this is St Augustine's in Redditch, that they're putting useful information on there for people to see and for them to stay in touch. So on this one, they've actually turned off the ability for them to reply, but they can leave feedback and that they've read it. And you can see on there that they can quickly add it and see what they've got on there. So it's used as a real good way to keep in touch as well. On the assignment side, so as a teacher, you can use this to deliver assignments and collect them in. I'm going to do a special session on that in particular in the future. Again, this is just to show you what it can and can't do. And I'll go through the times of those sessions at the end so you can find out where they are as well. But one of the quick things that people wanted to know is about how easy it is to create a meeting. Well, literally, if you click on the calendar, this integrates with the Outlook calendar. If I click on new meeting, I can put my title, and then I can put in my attendees. Now, these don't have to be in your organization. These can be from anywhere, as long as they've got an email address that you can share it with. You can put in the list in there for them to see. and then you can go on from there. So these, it's very easy to put the times and the dates and everything else that you need to do, and to put all the details for this meeting in the bottom here as well. When you've done that, it will appear in your calendar, and you can, when time comes, just click on that meeting and join it. So it's very easy to be able to do that as well. Now, if we go into our teams, you can be part of multiple teams, and these are the channels. So you can have multiple channels, and they are places where you can post information. If you go into chat, though, that's where you have a bit more of multiple chats, and you can create a chat in here, and you can quickly invite them into the chat and have different conversations with them. You can do that very quickly, and you can obviously share and call them from this view as well. So if I started one here with I am Lit support. So if I go for, I don't know, let's see if Ed's got an account. Here we go. Let's go to Ed Morgan. So I can start talking away to Ed on this conversation. This is a one-to-one conversation on here, and I can say, hello, Ed. Now you won't get this because this isn't his primary account, but I can see it's been delivered and sent, and then I'll be able to see when he's read it, because it will change and tell me. What I can do quickly up here is start a video call, or I can click here and start an audio call. Obviously you need a microphone and you need a webcam to do the video call, and you just need a microphone for the audio call as well. If you've got multiple people in your session here and you're doing it, you can also record your video as well, and it will upload to something called Stream internally, and then people can watch that back. So that's quite a useful tool as well. Within our chat, we can also have some files, and we can also add in additional tabs. You can do this in the channels as well, but I could add in a really useful document that we're working on, or I can put in a website, and it will come along the top bar up here as well. So you can have all that information in the one area. So Teams is really powerful for that reason. I'm just going to show you a quick video on Teams. So let me just grab to the right place to do it. So hopefully this will work, and you'll be able to watch this video through this session. Okay, so that was a little video there about Teams. Now it's safe to say that, oh, it's going again. It's safe to say that calling functionality won't be available in most schools. So bear that in mind. And I'm just going to jump over now to get this all live up on the screen. Okay. So lastly, I just want to talk to you briefly about the future sessions that we've got. So tomorrow we're going to go into a lot more detail about the Teams for teachers, showing you how to use the assignment tools and go into the chat, and a lot more information. That's tomorrow at 10 a.m. On Wednesday, we're going to do Microsoft Forms, which should have a lot more information of how you can create quizzes and they self-mark, and how you can use all them and embedding them into other things as well. And then on Thursday, we're going to do an introduction again to OneDrive and SharePoint, for those who still need a bit more top up on it as well. And we'll also then tonight, well, this afternoon at 4 o'clock, going to look at Power Automate and SharePoint. Now, if you need any more help from this session, you can jump onto our help desk portal, which is help.lordsit.org.uk. And on here, we've got some really useful guides for you to find. So you can learn how to move files to your OneDrive, learn how to move files to SharePoint, and then there's a quick start guide for Microsoft Teams. You've also got a guide here on how to install Office 365 to your device as well. If you still need help, you can use the relevant phone number to get in contact with us. We're here 8 till 5 every day, and you can click the button to arrange a call back as well, should you need to. So my name's been Matt Setchell. If you need any more help at all about using these tools, then please do not hesitate to give us a shout. The Q&A is going to stay open for a little bit now, so feel free to ask a question. You can also find me on Twitter at msetchell, and then you can also find Lords IT on Twitter, which is at Lords Support, which will have loads of useful information and tools on there to find out some more information. Thanks very much for your time, and keep safe and well.